And this morning, the race for the White House still has yet to be decided. However, results in several states are getting closer. Here's a look at the current electoral count from the Associated Press. Joe Biden has 264 votes. Meanwhile, President Trump has 214. 270 is the magic number that's needed to win. In Georgia, as mail-in ballots are being counted, President Trump's lead has now shrunk to 23,000 votes. And many of the ballots that still need to be counted are in counties where Biden has done very well. In Pennsylvania, the president's lead has shrunk to 3%. Election officials say they've counted about 90% of the expected vote. They had 2.5 million mail-in ballots to sort through. And keep in mind, those are ballots cast on or before Election Day, but workers were not allowed to count them until now. The Associated Press has called Arizona for Biden, but some other news organizations haven't yet. President Trump is getting a bit closer there, and late mail-in ballots have been more Republican. Meanwhile, some supporters of the president are surrounding ballot counting locations in these states, calling for the counting to stop or continue, depending on how the president is performing. ABC's Faith Abube has the latest look into the effort to count the remaining ballots.
This morning, the counting continues, with former Vice President Joe Biden saying he sees victory ahead.
I'm not here to declare that we've won, but I am here to report that when the count is finished, we believe we will be the winners.
Biden eating into Trump's lead in Pennsylvania, claiming he'll flip Arizona blue. Projections now show he's likely to win in Michigan and Wisconsin, and he's just 17 electoral votes shy of the presidency. His campaign setting a record for most votes for any presidential candidate.
We've won with the majority of the American people. Indeed, Senator Harris and I are on track to win more votes than any ticket in the history of this country.
Still, the former vice president urging patience as vote counting continues in swing states like Nevada, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. The president currently holds a lead in the Keystone State, but there are hundreds of thousands of ballots yet to be counted. The majority from Democratic-leaning areas, but without any legal basis, the president saying this.
So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop.
Even the Senate Majority Leader, Republican Mitch McConnell, weighing in.
Claiming you win the election is different from finishing the counting.
With the president's chances of staying in the White House for 4 more years narrowing, the Trump campaign now mounting court challenges in several states, including Michigan, where he's pushing for more GOP observers to be allowed into counting locations. This group causing chaos inside one of those sites, chanting, "Stop the count."
Well, other than his overnight news conference early Wednesday morning, the president hasn't been seen. He's been behind closed doors inside the White House and active on Twitter. Well, this morning, a pair of local professors offered their insight into the presidential race. They teach at Park University, and both professors believe it'll be over soon. And a day after talk on Wednesday, they said Biden is within reach of clinching the race. Matt Harris tells us the president's call for a recount in Wisconsin to close the gap in the vote count will not work.
I think Scott Walker, the former governor of Republican governor of Wisconsin, saying, you know, when Trump was talking about, the Trump campaign was talking about a recount, saying like, recount might get you 200-300 votes. You're down by 20,000.
And the other professor at the talk, Jack Adam McClellan, says he believes the Biden presidency likely will not ease tensions between the U.S. and its main world rivals. Well, it's 8:38 in Missouri set a record for voter turnout on Tuesday with more than 3 million Missourians casting a ballot. That's a 70% turnout. The Kansas Secretary of State predicted a 70% turnout, but the state has yet to release its final vote totals. Meanwhile, outside of Wichita, a former public school teacher is now the state's first transgender lawmaker. Democrat Stephanie Byers beat Republican Cindy Howerton. She'll represent the 86th district in the Kansas legislature, which includes parts of South Wichita. Byers, who is of Native American descent, said she's grateful for those who voted for her. Byers says that she plans to push for Medicaid expansion once in Topeka. And these results are just the tip of the iceberg and just a small part of the elections and the results we're following here at KBC and KCWE. To see them all, from the big state races to the decisions where you live, download our free KBC 9 News app. Just search KMBC wherever you get your apps.